To install the rigid cab mounts, what we want to do is we want to take the rubber mounts between the cab and the frame and replace those with what we refer to as a rigid cab mount. This is going to lock the cab securely to the frame, which is already in a frame system being held to the frame rack. To remove the rubber mounts, you need to remove the nuts and bolts attaching the rubber mounts to the frame itself and to the cab. The bolts going into the cab are a one-time use, they'll need to be replaced. Once all the cab mounts are loose, you can use the auxiliary ram to raise the cab up on one side. You will not have to disconnect any wiring or hoses from the cab. Raise the cab high enough to remove the rubber mounts and replace them with a rigid mount. Once the rigid cab mount is in place, you can put the pressure plate on top of it according to the angle of the bracket or the support on the cab itself. Then lower the cab on top of the rigid mounts. You can go ahead and start the bolts that are supplied in the kit. Repeat the process on the opposite side until all 4 to 6 cab mounts are in place depending on the cab configuration. Then tighten all bolts. The reason for the rigid cab mounts is to spread the pressure out over a larger area of the cab during any repairs being done to the cab itself. As we make pulls, we want to spread the pressure out over larger areas, reducing the chance of putting additional damage into the cab itself in areas that are not damaged from the accident. After the rigid cab mounts are installed, additional adapters can be installed to the outer rocker edges to prevent any tilting of the cab during structural repairs to the vehicle.